Hydrangea. I'm an artist. I've been picking flowers today. These are hydrangeas, and I picked them just to share with you the magnificent range of colors that they go through. This bloom is very old, and it's kind of started to take on some burgundy and some green. The purple has faded. This one's not quite as old, but the purple and the blues are definitely fading. This one's newer, and it's got a lot of really intense blue and pinks and purples in there. And I think they're just lovely flowers. Look at those colors. So inspired by the beauty of the hydrangea, I wanted to create a painting, kind of in a classic art style. They're hydrangeas with a reclining nude. So as I paint this, I will, at the end of this video, share with you the final piece in its completion. Blue Hydrangea, a poem by Rainer Maria Rilke. Just like the last green in a color pot, so are these leaves withered and wrecked. Behind the flower umbels which reflect a hue of blue only, more they do not. Reflections are tear-stained, inaccurate, as if they were about to cease, and like old blue notepaper sheets, they wear some yellow, gray, and violet. Washed out, like on a child's apron, outworn and now no more in use. We contemplate a small life's short duration. But suddenly some new blue seemingly is seen, in just one umbel, and we muse over a moving blue delighting in the green. To begin this painting, I first sketched my picture with charcoal on my canvas, and then went in with a really dark color mixed with green and violet to start getting those darks in, and then going in with my darker shades of flesh tone to get in the shadows and the dark points of the figure. Really just to kind of lay a permanent first coat of where my marks are going to be, where the figure lies under the hydrangeas, and really being inspired with the color scheme by the hydrangeas themselves, with the blues and greens and violets, and then trying to complement that with a really bright peach flesh tone. Getting a little detail on the face in some shadows, and going in and getting where the hair of the figure will be. And then going in with a second coat of that dark color mixed with the green and violet. Typically, I work a landscape from the background forward. The tricky part with this painting was getting that background around all of the leaves, because I wanted to leave that white of the canvas in order to really have the appearance of brightness and light on the leaves later on as I paint in those colors on the leaves. You can see how my paint leans kind of green and kind of purple in various places. And I think that that layering that I do throughout this piece really lends itself to creating more depth. And then ultimately going in with the bright green of the grass, filling in with just a thin layer, again trying to get that light to come through so that it looks bright and reflective and not as saturated as the background. And then I'll go in with more green details and more varietals of green, kind of mixing some yellows in, some aqua, but really allowing the canvas to shine through, because I found that that's a really effective way to convey light. And working around the background again, just kind of trying to work the whole canvas, and then going in here with those bright greens and the little details to get some texture in the grass and the plants kind of coming up around the figure. But really working on texture now that that light is kind of established. And then going in with a base of a kind of a pink violet for the hydrangeas themselves. And then finally bringing in varieties of green over those areas that I left blank, so that the light really shines through, they look bright, they really pop out from the dark background that I've already laid down. That green is really yellow. Just keeping a variety of greens, I think, helps to make it more realistic and much more like you actually see plants in the light and in, you know, against a dark background. And then going in again and bringing out more of that background with darker greens and some of the purples, just creating texture, creating variation. It really helps to make something look like it has a lot of depth, texture, light, movement, all of those things that help make a painting just a little bit more interesting. Bringing out the details of those leaves. Because when drawing leaves, it gets complicated. You don't want to have to draw every single leaf, and yet you want that texture conveyed. So it's just a matter of working background, working foreground, and allowing that combination and that process to complement each other and really make things pop out. The last few paintings I've done have really focused on light and how it shines, and I do that, like I said, by leaving just a little bit of the canvas showing through a sheer layer of paint. And then working again on the figure, getting some of the lighter lights and really refining the shadows and the dimension of the figure. This figure is slightly foreshortened in that the hips and the legs are slightly closer to where we're looking at it. So the hips and the legs look slightly bigger than the torso and especially the head. And that is a process called foreshortening. I work in layers and using thin paint, especially when doing figures, mixing in like a matte medium or even a gloss medium to thin the paints so that you can still see the under layers. And it provides a lot of depth and dimension. And then going around the figure with the dark color again, kind of gives a halo effect or a collage effect in bringing the figure out from the background and into the foreground, really making it pop. And then going in with varieties of blues and violets and more pinks to really make those hydrangeas more realistic and give them a lot of texture. Thanks so much for stopping by, for checking out this video, and please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much.